So I moved to the UK. I moved to the UK at the beginning of 2020. Yes, that's when all the fun started. It was amazing. I moved here, me single to London, right, into a city with 1 million gays. What could go wrong? I felt like a kid in a candy store. It was all about sucking. London opened my eyes, and not only my eyes, to so many new things. For example, did you know there is a gay version of rock, paper, scissors? It's called Rimming Popper Syphilis. Amazing. Everybody loses all the time. Also, a big confusion that hit me in the first 3 days I moved to the UK. I started in a new team to work with this lovely person there. You can verify this. And when I started to work in the first team, everybody talked about their partner, right? And in German, partner is a gender term, usually male. So everybody was like, oh, I have weekend plans with my partner, I'm going to go away with my partner, I want to have anal sex with my partner. And I thought, oh my god, in this team, everybody is gay. Amazing, right? Even the guy who always comes in cargo shorts and open-toe sandals, amazing. I was amazed at this sort of gender-inclusive approach to language, because after all, this is a country that even genders its hoobers. So I think I have a point. But in truth, I am now in a relationship. That is a closed relationship. Every time, so he keeps reminding me, every time I so much fall over into a guy, he's like, pull out, we have to leave. Yeah, absolutely, come in, sit down. We have to leave. But he's not here, he hates that joke, but it's fine. But before I went into that relationship, I did my time, right? For years I was on the front of the London slut battalion of the London gays. For years I ringed down these trenches. The only thing that could keep a beautiful slut like me from the front lines was when I got an STD. I was very much a hunter and gatherer. I hunted cock, I gathered STDs. How many times did I get one? Well, let's just say I started to call chlamydia the gay flu. And I was on a first name basis with all the staff at all the London sexual health clinics. But to be fair, I sometimes enjoyed having an STD. I sometimes enjoyed it. It's a bit of downtime, guys. It's 7 days, you don't have to go out, you don't have to socialise, you save money. If you're a bottom, your water bill goes down dramatically. Front row knows what I'm talking about. It's great, it's a bit of me time. It's an ST me time. It's an ST me time. I enjoyed it. During the times I had an STD, I turned into what I call a sex vegan, because there was no foreign protein involved. But overall, I see myself now as a seasoned whore, right? She worked her way up, she now owns the brothel. That's me. But when I first, thank you. Thank you, Dad. They're separated, but they get on. But when I first moved to the UK in 2020, I was like a small little gay boy. I was romantically challenged, or single and lonely, if you want to be mean about it. I also was quite vulnerable, right? I didn't really know what I was doing, but luckily God only gives you what you can handle, right? So the first guy I met had 6.5 inches and not a hair's breadth more. Gasps. That was a challenge for me at the time. That soon changed. I went out, I wanted to meet people, I went on all the apps, I went on Hinge, Tinder, Grindr, Fist Me Now. Great time on that one. I met you there, wonderful. Thanks for coming back. And the UK at the time was really nice, really accepting of queer people, right, really welcoming, because back in rural Switzerland, straight people still spit at the gays, and we have to pretend we're not incredibly turned on by that. But then soon after I moved to the UK, a pandemic hit, right? Everything's shut down, nothing worked anymore, but hey, the gays be damned if a global pandemic keeps us from having fun. So what's actually popularity? Cruising, right? Do we know what cruising is? Okay, you don't know, I'm surprised. So cruising basically is gay men meeting in the woods having a good shag, right? Did I participate in cruising during the pandemic? Well, let's just say I had a lot of trousers with very muddy knees at the time. But because cruising for me was quite exciting, so I knew, right? Because in Switzerland it's not really a thing. In Switzerland it's hard to do cruising because of the echoes in the Alps, right? So it's very, very difficult to do. But then sort of we slogged on through the lockdown. At some point, gay saunas opened back up, right? Very, very early, because they were classed as beauty parlors, so the same level as hairdressers. That, my friends, is a very good example of gay networking in government. Right? The gay agenda was working. Quadruple. The gay saunas provided relief. Gay saunas are like regular saunas, right? But they have just been appropriated by the gays to have a good shagging. It's very nice. You sort of chill around in the sauna. At some point, there's jizz on the hot stones. It's fine. Smells like fried egg. Amazing. Soon after that, the gyms open back up, right? The gyms open back up, and there are some gyms, especially in London, that also have been appropriated by the gays to have a good shagging. So I went to one of those. I wanted to see what all the fuss was about. So I went to one of those, and I had a sneaky little workout, and then I went to the showers, because the showers is where it's happening, right? There's sort of two rows of shower cabins opposite each other, and I was like, looking around a little bit, trying to see who's there, making a little eye contact with people, and nobody really around, so I was like, okay, let's have a shower, get myself nice and moist. So I went into the shower, had a little shower, came out of the shower cabin to dry myself off. Didn't need to, there was enough space in the cabin, but I wanted to show the girls. So I came out, dried myself off, looked a bit around, dried myself off, looked a bit around. Nobody really there, so I was like, okay, let's give it a bit of time. Went back in, had another shower, came back out, dried myself off, looked a bit around, nobody really there, dried myself off, looked a bit around, nobody really there, went back in, had another shower, came back out. I left this place, 40 minutes later, cleaner than I had ever been before. My skin dry as a rice cake with eczema, having been taken down several pegs without any pegging at all. An absolute disaster. But at some point, we muddled through the lockdown further. At some point, the clubs opened back up, right? There was this weird time where you had to sit down. We muddled through that. Eurovision helped. But at some point, you could dance again and you could go to the clubs. I started to go back out more. I started to go on the internet again. Discovered Snapchat, great app, specifically designed to send around dick pics, right? Disappearing pictures. And what do you think is under the hood of that ghost? Clubbing in the UK is very different from clubbing in the UK, I can tell you that much. Clubbing in Switzerland is very different from clubbing in the UK. In the UK, I was confused by something, the toilets, right? How many people do we think fit into a toilet cubicle? 3? 5? 4 or 5? Well, the most I have seen is 14. But they were all twinks, so they were quite famished. So that sort of checks out. At the beginning, I thought they were having sex, right? It's tradition. At some point, I discovered that they then all had, it was more about the sort of sniff. But at some point, I really realized, okay, it makes sense. You sort of have to blow your nose a lot because you want to do the poppers correctly. Do we all know what poppers are? Yes, the straight people have appropriated them by now. For some reason, you can buy them at a corner shop, and Gwyneth Paltrow released one that smells like an armpit. It's great, I've tried it, it's just rosewater and entitlement. Amazing. It's number 5 on the list if you want to have a taste later. I like a good bit of poppers, that's Berlin Fist, a favourite of mine. I'll just have a little... An amazing vintage. Yeah, that's poppers. But what do poppers do? Poppers basically dramatically change what God can give you to handle. Right? They really want to sort of make you open up. If somebody drops a bottle at a party, everybody starts to talk about their childhood. It's amazing. real breakthrough for therapy with straight men. Amazing. Amazing. The thing though with poppers are so popular now that some people in the club write it on their phone, it's sort of flashing up, right? Have you seen this? Sort of the people in the club are like advertising for poppers basically. I think that's a bit much because the only time I've announced something so publicly is when I lost my mum at 4 years old in the shopping centre, right? It's mommy, poppers, poppers. It's the same vibe, it's the exact same vibe. Your feedback has been noted. The only real important thing with poppers, apart from don't drink them, is you can't do them at the same time as having Viagra, right? I mean, you can, it just gets a bit deathy. And that's a real problem with the gays, right? You can have fun in the front for a long time or in the back for a long time, but not both. That's the real sad thing about being gay. That's the thing. With clubbing, I also learned that a new thing in the UK is the afters, an after party. Right? Yes, nods in the second row. I could see it. And the teeth, it's sort of not kidding. No, the afters is basically the party that starts after the club's at 4 a.m. It's basically a drug-fueled sex slumber party, right? Loads of drugs. Because of the drugs, everybody there pretends to be a Hoover for a bit. Every orifice is used for something. And because of the drugs, they usually last quite a long time. Which I think is fine, but for me, longer is not necessarily better, right? On that point, I also defined the optimal length for a blowjob, right? 15 to 20 minutes, anything longer than that, I asked him to put an audiobook on. I'm not doing it. I usually go to the afters for the sex, not the drugs, right? That also means that I'm usually the most sober person there, which is fine. The problem is sometimes people, when they're very high, they get the talkies, right? Yappa, 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 about everything and anything. And it's not something interesting. When I sort of asked to talk on the spot, I often get asked for like German dirty talk. I never know what to say. So I usually go for, oh ja, bitte mach mir meine Steuererklärung und zieh die Dividenden nicht ab. Which translates to please do my tax returns and don't deduct the dividends. Which, as a Swiss person, is very close to my heart. But there was this one proper tricky time with someone with the talkies. I was on a couch, and God had given me a challenge, so to speak. And then a guy sits down next to me, starts to caress my face, and tells me how wrong Brexit was. And my reaction was like, look mate, this is a very good point, but a very strange time to make. Not while somebody's getting fisted on a couch. I am concentrating here.